Today we are going to discuss about testing using Jest. As we know that Jest is one of the mostly commonly used library to test JavaScript code or program. So here we are going to use Jest and illustrate how Jest works. So to illustrate how Jest works, what you need, you can go to your terminal, and in your terminal you need to install the npm, you need to initialize the npm dependency, initialize, you need to do this. So it creates a JSON file when you do that, and this is the JSON file that it has been created. So after that, then you need to install the Jest in development because you are not in production. So you need to install the same in development. To install Jest, then what you need to do, you need to say, of course, npm install, npm install, and you can save it as dev. I want to install, of course, Jest. So when you do this, let it finish, but we expect it to create a dependency and our package JSON file. So it will create a dependency here. The second thing that it will do, it will create a node modules file, which we don't need it to be pushed to GitHub. So let it finish to run, and we see that. So we expect a dependency to be created, the Jest dependency here. Okay, so let it finish. So once it finishes, then we also need to change this back to Jest. We don't want that, so we need to change this to Jest. Okay, let me, okay, sorry. So I think I interfered with the when I try to edit. Let me run it again to see how it behaves. I shouldn't have interfered. Yeah, so it has created a dependency here. That's what you wanted. So here we have changed this to Jest, and it has created a dependency. So it has created also a node modules file, which you don't need. To avoid pushing this to GitHub, then we need to do a git ignore file to put this inside the git ignore file. So we say I don't need all these modules to be pushed to my GitHub because we actually don't need it. They are just supporting the package. Yeah, so it won't be pushed. So when you do git add all the files, git commit m, and you say installed Jest. No, you can't say this in so you say install. The message needs to be affirmative, the GitHub message, the one that you are committing. Install Jest. Yeah, then you can say git push. So when we do this, you find that node modules are not pushed to GitHub. You can see here. So if you refresh this page, yeah, this is it. So you don't find the node modules package in our GitHub. So this is not pushed when we did that. So this is ignored by default. So having done that, so let us go back to explain how Jest works. We have installed Jest. Now we have Jest in our system, and we need now to use Jest. To use Jest, assume you have a file. Assume you have a file here, and the file name is index.js. and in this file, my file has a class. Assume it has a class, and the class I can call it a user class. Within a user, I can say I have a user, and then I can probably have say greeting as my function. Okay, so then I say the function returns hello Ben. So we have this. So once we have this, assume now in case you come in your, okay, let me clear this, you come and do npm run Jest, we expect it to fail, of course, because we don't have a file yet. There is no file that is being run. And to create a file, for example, we wanted to test this file, then you have to create a file of the same name. You will have to create a file of the same name, index dot, you add test. We are adding test now to the initial file. So this one, the name index should reflect the file that you want to test. And use .test.js. So this is now the file that will be tested against this. So when we do this, this file is tested against this because it is sharing the same name. But for the test file, we have .test. Let us have something here, probably to see if it's working. Let us have something like test. Of course, this should be the name of our test. It can be anything. It can be anything you want, but it's just the name of test. Then any name that you want to reflect the name of the testing that you are performing. Of course, how you can say test greeting, test greeting, whichever name that you feel comfortable. Then here, of course, this is a function, it auto-populated itself. So here, what I have to say, assume, okay, you can assume, probably say expect, if you're expecting true, dot to be true. So when you run this, we expect, of course, the function, our test run to pass, because it's a fact. A true is a true. Okay, so it's saying sorry. So npm run, I don't know what I put here. npm, npm run test, not just sorry, npm run test. So we expect it to pass, so, and it has passed. This is where the name is reflected, then whichever name that we were to put here, and it says test success 1 passed out of 1 test, so it's passing. Assume we expect true to be false, we expect this to fail, and for the simple reason, because it will provide true and it expects the true to be true, but here we do this, we expect it to fail. So it has failed because it's telling you that it expected false but received true. So because it was expecting false, it received true, then hence it failed. So having done this, let us explore more. Now we want to test. This is just for illustration. However, you want to test whatever is here is what you want to test. Do we have a message of hello Ben here? This is what you want to test. To test, you first need to export this. You have to say export dot module, modules, then you say is equals to, what are you exporting? You're exporting what you are calling a user. You're exporting what you are calling a user. Okay, now quick fixes. I don't know why it's highlighting this. So we are export. Let me just check this quickly. I don't know. Okay, export modules user. Just a minute, I'm just checking what the issue is to highlight that. I don't know why. Okay, so export modules user. I think probably is doing that to sorry, this is wrong. Probably we needed to say modules.export. Okay, so let us do this. We needed to say module.export exports, then we say is equals to user. Sorry for that. So this is what we needed to say. Then when you come to, after saying this, then in our test file you need to import this. You need to import this by saying you need to import this in our modules.js file by saying, by starting by declaring a constant, and then you have to say constant. Then our constant is what we are calling user, and the main user, and then which is equals to require. We're saying require, and then the name of the file that we are importing it from. The name of the file is index.js. Then having done this, then what we need to do specifically, you need to call this function inside our, you need to call that constant inside our function. And to call that, then you can say now constant. We need to declare it here. Okay, constant. You say probably user is equals to new user. What basically this does, it will create a new user based on our class, because our class now contains our class which is user. It will try to create a new user based on our object from the class. So we need to say constant this. So here you can say, having done this, now we want to test our index.js file, and to test it, then you have to say expect user. I'm expecting user dot greeting function to be equal to, what am I expecting my greeting to be? So I'm saying expect this user dot greeting function to return hello world. I expect it to return this. So I say expect this function to return to return this. So I expect that to be true. So whichever this function has should be hello man. So if that's false, then I expect, of course, my test to fail. So if we run test, so it has passed, and that's correct. Assume I expect my greeting to be hello, probably hello John. Then of course I expect it to fail, because what I have here is hello Ben. So I expect that to fail, because that's not correct. Okay, so it has failed. So it's working correctly. So however, we let us advance this further. Assume the user provided something here, probably is say the user gave the name. We expect the name here, and the return should be hello. Then we say the return, we expect the return to be this way. Then the return, I expect the return to be that. Of course you can't say this, then you have to use for it to read this. Yeah, so you say hello, the name of the person that have been supplied. Assume we come back to our test. We say the name here is okay, we'll assume the name is John. So what do you expect? When you say John, it will call this function greeting, comes here, supplies the name John here, so it will say hello John, which you expect should be correct, and our test shouldn't fail if we do that. Sorry, so John, you need to enclose it within quotes. Okay, let us try to run our test. We don't expect this to fail. Yeah, it have not failed. Assume the user was Ben here. When you run this, then it will call this function with the name John, and it will say hello John. Okay, it will call this function and supply the name Ben, then it will say hello Ben, and we are asking, when you are calling this, is it equal to hello this? So we expect that to fail, because that's false. Call this function again. It has failed. That's what we expected. Assume, so if a user doesn't supply anything here, if the user doesn't supply anything, let us try to call the function. Of course you expect the function to fail. Yeah, we expect the function to fail, because you expected hello John, we get hello undefined. Hope you're understanding for what this means. You are calling this function and we expect it to give this. So if it gives something that's not what we are defining here, then our test result should fail. Let us advance it further by saying okay, return this. We say probably you can supply the name or you can fail to supply the name. Let us say if you say if name, then return this. It should return this if you have the name, then else. Okay, else, of course you don't have the name now. You don't have the name, then it should return hello stranger, or hello, you can say hello sister, something like that. Okay, so we are saying if you have the name, then do this. Okay, it's showing me there's an error somewhere, so let me find the error. So return this. Oh, sorry, so we can't be using this. Okay, sorry. Okay. So we are saying class user greeting name, if name return this. Just a minute. Okay, so okay, if name return that, else okay, else return hello stranger. Don't know what the error was for. So it'll return hello stranger. Having done this, so you can try to run our test again without any input in our test file. So of course we expect it to fail, because saying we expected hello John, we get hello stranger. So that's what, because you're expecting hello John, assume here we say we expect stranger and we don't supply anything. Okay, of course we expect it now to pass. Yeah, it has passed. So having done that, we can take it further by probably saying we can take it further. So we are saying if the name is this, return this and all that. However, what you notice that this function is very very repetitive, and we don't need this. So I think what we need to do, instead of writing this function the way it is, you can make it shorter. You can make this function shorter by, so this is equivalent, we can make the function shorter by saying here, okay, we can delete this. Okay, let me squeeze this. We say, of course, we are saying you say return, what am I returning? Return, of course, return hello, and then you say plus, of course, into brackets. You can either have the name of the person if you are given, or if that's not the case, then it should return stranger. What basically I'm telling it, let's try to see if it works, because if you have the name, then this should become first, otherwise it should take hello stranger. Then we do away with this. Okay, so you can say hello that. So when you are coming to test, we expect this to return hello stranger, and we don't expect this to fail. Yeah, it's not failing. Assume you provide the name here of Anne. Of course, we expect this to fail because you have an input, and the input is not, and the input is not hello somebody here. We expect it to be hello stranger, so we expect this to again to fail. So having discussed this, and I guess you have understood what I Jest, how to use Jest in testing, we can make it more, we can learn further by saying probably you come to, if you come to your package here, then in Jest, here in Jest you add something, probably call it coverage, to see how it will appear now. Coverage, to see how our test will appear. So it will contain the coverage for this. So this is how it appears. We have our file, index.js file, and it's 100%, and these are the test output. For example, if you come to here, come to coverage, you see the index, this is icon report, icon report. Then you can copy this path for, is the index.js, index.html. Yeah, if you copy this, you copy the path to this, then you come to your browser, you will see how it appears. So we have this, which is taking 100%, and this is what it contains. Probably we can add this function. You see how it will split it. For further illustration, we say greeting is this, and probably saying greeting, and then we add another function here. We say this is the function, we say probably goodbye, goodbye. Okay, so let us try to run this. So you are seeing it's partitioning this 50-50. Let us make it work. Assume the test is passing, and we expect here the name to be okay. Let us not supply anything here so that the test can pass in this case. So what it's simply telling us is this one is taking 66%, and there it means we have two, which is taking 52 functions, each of them taking 50%. In case we come to our browser and refresh this, now we have two functions. We have two functions. Okay, let me come here, go back to index here, copy this path. That's why we copied it. You paste it here. So it's telling us we have an index which is taking 66%, and the branches that we have, which is taking 50% of the branches. We have two branches for that. We have two functions for this. So if you expand this, and then we have the two functions here. Hope that's clear. So this is testing using Jest. We are providing, we know what to expect, and by knowing what to expect, you have to create a file with the same name as the file that you want to test. Then you indicate index.test. For example, if the file is called index, and then now you supply your what are you testing here. You can always test probably 1 + 2 is equal to this and all that, whatever you want to test. probably that should have come from, should be contained in the index.js file. Thanks. Let us meet in the next lesson.